Good morning, my name is Joseph Kinyanjui. Kama kawaida ya mkono ni moja katikati ya watu wengi, the Taban Prince with the Taban Flex. This is Business News 10 a.m. We begin with the highlights. The Harvard graduate tapped to lead President Ruto's fight against tax cheats. State reveals plan to hand struggling millers to private investors. Why Kenya Powers faces multiple probes. M-Shwari takes 34% share in digital credit. Debt expenses surpass Kenya's ordinary revenue flows. And we begin. Treasury Cabinet Njuguna Ndung'u has tapped Harvard-trained corporate financial advisor Humphrey Watanga Mulongo to be the next Kenya Revenue Authority (KRA) Commissioner General, restoring the reign of outsider chief executives at the state agency. Mr. Watanga is tasked with delivering President William Ruto's ambitious plan to collect 2.768 trillion shillings in tax revenues set out for the taxman in the current financial year and cross the 3 trillion shillings mark in 2024-2025. The KRA was expected to collect 2.191 trillion shillings in ordinary revenues in the 2022-2023 financial year, but achieved 2.166 trillion shillings in a year when revenue shortfalls put the taxman in the crosshairs of the Ruto administration. The appointment, however, extends a streak of heartbreaks for acting chief executives who found themselves overlooked in the recruitment of substantive CEOs for the state corporations. Now, more than 117 billion shilling debts owed by 5 struggling state sugar companies will be written off by the government before they can be leased to private investors if Parliament approves a plan by the Treasury. The plan will also see a rundown factories sold and land leased to the bidders picked to commercially run Zoya Sugar, South Nyanza, that is Sony Sugar, Chemilil Sugar, Mumias Sugar, Muhoroni Sugar, and Miwani Sugar to construct modern plants. Treasury Cabinet Secretary Njuguna Ndung'u said that the proposal lease will model shall be executed by unbundling the nucleus estate land and the factory lands owned by the millers. This comes weeks after the cabinet dropped an earlier plan to privatize the farms following sustained opposition by leaders and sugarcane farmers from the Sugar Belt region. Kenya Power is facing yet another inquiry amid revelations that the utility has been inflating customer bills, making access to electricity a painful affair for homes and increasing cost for the businesses. The inquiries on tariffs, staff lifestyles, and deals with the independent power producers have come amid increased public outcry and backlash, mainly on social media. However, past inquiries have not borne the desired outcomes, raised fears that the latest investigation might be another wild goose chase. Public outcry amid the perennial inquiries into Kenya Power has also led to increased calls to allow more private sector players into the power distribution sector as part of ending the utilities monopoly. This is the latest inquiry and comes following revelations by Auditor General Nancy Gathongo that nearly 20% of customer bills could not be matched to actual consumption or specific customers. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi ordered the inquiry last month, even as the utility failed to sufficiently explain the discrepancies. The Auditor General's findings further revealed cases of missing or faulty check meters and discrepancies between the check meters and the main meters, leading to consumers being given bills that are not reflected in their meters. NCBA-owned mobile lending platform M-Shwari tops list of digital lenders controlling 34% market share according to disclosures from the Competition Authority of Kenya, CAK. The regulator's data shows M-Shwari is followed by Fuliza at 25%, KCB M-Pesa at 15%, Tala at 13%, Branch at 9%, and others at 4%. The regulator made disclosure in connection with its approval of Nigerian fintech Moneypoint Inc.'s full buyout of KopoKopo, a mobile payment platform operating in Kenya. The CAK said in a statement that the merger will not negatively affect the competitiveness of other players in the digital credit market. The transaction value was not cited, but the agency says the combined turnover is above 1 billion shillings. Before the CAK approval, Moneypoint Incorporated in the United States did not have any undertaking in Kenya, but the company is expanding to the country soon. Kenya's debt payment costs exceed revenue from taxes and fees on services in the first month of the current year by 4.9 billion shillings, pointing to a growing squeeze on public finances. The Treasury spent nearly 161.84 billion shillings on debt repayments in July, according to gazetted data on inflows and outflows from the government's main account, surpassing 156.94 billion shillings receipts from taxes and non-tax revenue from state services. The debt repayment costs were nearly double 83.93 billion shillings in the same month last year, reflecting a rising risk of distress for Kenya in the current fiscal year. This came at a time when taxes rose 18.73% to 155.07 billion shillings, while non-tax receipts, including user fees on government services, fell 4.03% to 1.87 billion shillings. Kenya is staring at a record high external repayment expenses in the current year, underlined by growing dues to China and bullet 301.51 billion shillings as per budget books, redemption of the debut Eurobond. The July debt burden was partly on account of increased repayment to the Exim Bank of China, the financier of Standard Gauge Railway (SGR), and other projects whose repayments are estimated 111.93 billion shillings in the current year. Overall, Treasury has budgeted 112.39 billion shillings towards repaying China's debt, which increased from 107.42 billion shillings last fiscal year ended June 2023. Kenya usually repays Chinese lenders in two batches in July and January every financial year. The rising debt obligations have raised jitters among international investors over Kenya's ability to refinance huge external repayments.
Smart Inside International, USA brings you Hobnob Access Point, smart and intelligent security systems for home and office. Call him today at 254714-222-101. Smart Inside is your best tech partner, doing things the smart way.
Now, having read the final report, we mark the end at that. This is 10 a.m. News Bulletin. My name is Joseph Kinyanjui.